Good afternoon and good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and coffee stream number 182. And it's Wednesday, so that means I'm joined again, as usual, by the lovely Skep Talk. How are you today, Skep?
Oh, Wednesday's child is full of woe today.
Sorry about us being so late. It's poor Skep had to switch everything. He came on and he was like, I'm like, uh-oh.
yeah. Evidently, when I came on, Blind was telling me that my voice sounded robotic, and it was just sometimes you just set up in the room and it doesn't work. And I was setting up in my living room so that I could be that I have some other stuff going on that I thought I could get away with it. And I usually can, but not today. It just chose to be a little bitch. So we very hurriedly rushed back to my office, and I set up like I do for my normal stream on Minions. So I'm in the official Skep Cave to broadcast to you here from Midlothian, Texas. And we've got quite a show for the fans today, don't we?
We do, but before we get into that, let's say hi to them. Let's
Absolutely.
see. We got a Pink Hollow and a Seamus and a Costin and a Kara. Hi, Kara. Kara's here.
Excellent.
And check your logic. And let's see. Rolling Bear as well. Martin is here too. We've got, nothing for you here, as well as also Green Thunder. Wow, we've got a nice little group of people coming in here.
Yeah, very nice to have you guys with us. I think we've got a pretty good show for you today, and it'll be worth all the running around that we did to prep it up for you. And,
I also promise not to cry today.
I, however, do not. I make no such promise. We just don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, seriously, thank you all for joining us. Hi, all you need. Welcome, buddy. And we would love to have you like and share the little stream here. Every little bit helps, and tell your friends about it. Come and join us. Come join Blind Press most of the days of the week, and me one of the days of the week. And because this is basically a pretty fun place to be, and I'm a big believer anyway. What's been going on with you?
So, I was looking in some DMs from Pinkalo.
Yes.
And he sent me a few very interesting stories, including a Florida woman story. Which, if you are a man, you will probably cringe at this story.
All you have to do is say Florida.
Because this Florida woman, this story says, a Florida woman was arrested last week on allegations that she squeezed her boyfriend's testicles until they bled.
No.
So as I said, if you are a man, you are probably crossing your legs right now.
Don't like this story so far.
The alleged incident occurred on June 4th in Indian Harbor Beach, about 70 miles southeast of Orlando. Authorities responded.
Just keep breathing.
Authorities responded to a call from a man who said his live-in girlfriend had assaulted him, according to a police report. I would hope he called the police.
I would be calling the morgue.
Yeah, I've killed my girlfriend.
Yeah, and it's totally justifiable homicide.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Squeezed them until they bled, did she?
This chick's name was Katie. Katie Lee Pitchford.
Katie Lee, have you been squeezing testicles again?
Was arrested last week on allegations that she grabbed her boyfriend's testicles until they bled.
Why?
The report said the woman identified as 21-year-old Katie Lee Pitchford had become enraged during an argument with the alleged victim, who was not named. Reportedly told the officers that Lee Pitchford had struck him with her fists and scratched the left side of his face.
Now, this girl's name is Katie Lee Pitchford, you say?
Katie Lee Pitchford.
Okay. Now, Katie Lee Pitchford of Florida.
Yes.
Okay. And
21.
And we don't know where in Florida, do we?
It said Indian Harbor Beach.
Indian Harbor Beach. Okay. I'm seeing something. Indian Harbor Beach woman in jail after squeezing boyfriend's genitals. Florida Today. There she is. And let me tell you something. This girl looks like the girl whose senior year in high school was voted most likely to be committed to an insane asylum. Most likely to commit psychopathic murder. She's got crazy eyes. She's got those, and you know how some people have googly crazy eyes, where it's just kind of funny?
Yeah.
That's not this girl. This girl has the mean, crazy eyes. This girl has the "I'm coming to get you with a chainsaw" crazy eyes.
You're not going to leave me, right? Because I kill you, and then myself.
Exactly.
Like that crazy.
I'm holding my children's hands.
Yeah.
That she's got that kind of look to her, like this is not a person who has a fine future ahead of her. She probably doesn't have much of a past. She's wearing clothes. Every picture I am looking at her, every picture about her has trailer trash written all over it. Just the amazing miracle bra is put to full use here. Boobs are pushed up to the nose. And let's see, Katie Lee Pitchford. Pitchford is a 21-year-old Florida female psychopath who is accused of viciously attacking her boyfriend at their home in Indian Harbor Beach. She said they were fighting because she wanted to go on a date with an old friend, and her boyfriend of 3 years saw her text message and became angry and jealous. Pitchford told police that the argument was only verbal, not physical, but her boyfriend told officers that Pitchford became enraged, hit and choked him, and then squeezed his genitals until he bled, according to court documents. Officers said in the arrest report they witnessed bruising and blood on the boyfriend. Oh my God.
So she wanted to go on a date with somebody else.
An old boyfriend.
And her boyfriend of 3 years.
Right.
Was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't go on a date with your old boyfriend.
Then she sees the text messages and he says, "What the fuck? You're texting him like, you're still going out with him.
Yeah.
You gonna send him some nudes now?"
And she gets enraged.
So he told police he did not hit Pitchford back and only tried to block her blows. The boyfriend said he wrestled free from Pitchford and called 911. He did exactly the right thing.
Yep.
Pitchford could not be reached for comment, and it is not clear if she has hired an attorney who could comment on her behalf. Her boyfriend was not identified in court documents and could not be reached for comment.
It's probably not her boyfriend anymore, I hope.
Let's see. Here are 5 fast facts about Katie Lee Pitchford you must know. And the first one is that the boyfriend told police that she hit him with a brush, punched him, scratched him, choked him until he couldn't breathe, grabbed him by the balls, and squeezed him until they were bleeding. 2, she was already on felony probation. Imagine my shock after admitting to kicking a police officer directly in the face during an arrest while she was being arrested for yet something else in October 2017. That was a probation violation. She was already on felony probation, and so forth and so on. In another incident in Melbourne, Florida.
Oh my
Let's
God.
see. She seems to have an anger problem.
Apparently.
Officers on yet another occasion encountered Pitchford in the parking lot of a business and say she was leaning into the passenger side of a car and taking items out while yelling at people trying to stop her. The vehicle's owner was at the scene and told police he did not know Pitchford, who was basically robbing the car. The officer said, I asked the female, Pitchford, to exit the vehicle. However, she refused and kept cursing at myself and witnesses. An officer wrote, it should be noted that I did identify myself as a police officer and was in full police uniform at the time of the incident. I took hold of the suspect's arm and I pulled her out of the vehicle. It was this time she looked directly at me, began cursing at me, and told me to let her go. She then broke free of my grasp and jumped back into the vehicle. The officer wrote that she began grabbing items from the car to include water bottles, several bags of nuts, and a car charger. The car's owner yelled that the items were his, but she continued and started cursing again. The officer then grabbed Pitchford and pulled her out by the arm from the vehicle and put a handcuff on her. She yelled, "Don't handcuff me," and tried to pull away. As she pulled back and fell into the vehicle, she kicked me directly in the face while telling me to let go. I again pulled her from the vehicle and attempted to get the other handcuff on. However, she began to kick me several times, striking me in the leg and groin area, the officer wrote.
What the fuck is
how the officer kept himself from just taking this woman out. And believe me, he probably could. She's not huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could basically just take this girl and break her arm, and then the fight will be over very quickly.
And all he would have to do is go, she was struggling and she fell the wrong way. Oops.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's absolutely
her
right.
arm broke because she was being stupid. Oops.
Like, even after another officer and him handcuffed her, she continued to struggle in an attempt to break free and had to be physically carried from the police car and into the station after transport.
I'm surprised they didn't put leg irons
hobbles. Yeah, hobbles on her.
Because she would deserve them for sure.
She was charged with burglary, battery of a law enforcement officer, several third-degree felonies, resisting an officer without violence. She later pleaded basically guilty, no contender to all 4 charges, December 2017, and had the adjudication of guilt withheld pending the completion of probation, which is the probation she blew. Okay. And so there you go. She was also, wait a minute, the arrests just keep on coming. She was also arrested in November 2017 when police say she kicked officers and bit a nurse on the arm.
What the fuck?
After her mom called police because she took pills after a fight with her boyfriend.
Oh my God.
This is just, this is, and
what be crazy.
Yeah, she works as a hairstylist, colorist, and extension artist, and is a graduate of is a high school graduate of one of the high schools.
She actually graduated high school. Wow,
she graduated high school. She certainly did, and
that's surprising.
Mm-hmm. She is scheduled to appear in court on June 25th. Also faces another charge in another domestic violence case. Bitch be crazy.
Aw. Thank you, Martin. $10 Streamlabs donation that says, your streams bring so much joy to my day. I would be lost without them now. You're the only streamer I watch every day, and you're so good to your fans. Thanks for making my days better. P.S. Will you ever do Star Trek TNG streams after Deep Space Nine?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to be talking about our favorite episodes as well for each series. And I think we're probably going to do, we had an idea about doing a Borg series.
Yes.
And you can't talk about the Borg without talking about TNG.
Absolutely.
So do not worry. There will definitely be
TNG is coming to
more mention of TNG.
Absolutely. And it's easy to be good with to fans when you have fans like Martin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And
when you have awesome people that watch you, it's awesome. It's great. It's easy to be.
We do. We got such good people like Seamus and Logic and Maddie and Martin and Nothing. You know, good folks. Good folks.
We
good
really
folks,
do.
good folks.
It's great.
It's,
I love these guys.
A jolly little breakfast club that we have. It feels like that with me because it's in the morning here in Central Time. I know it's kind of an afternoon thing with you, but I always think of this as sort of a brunch type of thing. But anyway, be that as it may. So it's kind of a
don't do meth and bath salts, kids. It will rot your head, says Seamus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Don't smoke bath salts. It's just not good. And but if you I used to think if I couldn't live in the United States, where would I want to live? When I was a little kid, I would get out like the Rand McNally World Atlas, and I would look at other countries. I'd say China, no, language is too hard, and there's scary stuff over there. Russia, nope, communist, that's bad.
Yeah.
Cuba, same thing, nope. South America, nah. Spanish, if I was gonna go foreign language, it's got to be someplace where they speak French. And I always ended up with Canada because I love to snow ski, and I figured they had decent snow skiing in Canada. Plus, the only foreign language really in Canada is French, and I knew French pretty well, so I was okay with that. But if I had to go back over toward Europe or Scandinavia or someplace like that, I always figured Sweden would be a pretty safe choice.
Yeah.
I always thought, low crime rate. It's quite prosperous. It's very clean. It's like Switzerland, except the people aren't mean.
Yeah.
And it's got all the cleanliness and orderliness and niceness of Switzerland, but on top of it, the people are actually kind, as opposed to Switzerland, where if you're not Swiss, they hate you. It's just the way. That's just the way
it really is.
And so, imagine my shock when I saw the other day that, and this is totally not related. This is totally not related to the influx of Muslim and Arab migrants into Sweden. There was a giant explosion of ammonium nitrate type of explosive that had clearly been stored up as a weapons type of explosive in a town in Sweden. I mean, it basically blew up in a mostly unpopulated apartment area that was being built.
Wow.
Fortunately, there weren't very any people there, but some of the people that were, like a quarter mile or half a mile away, they said they were actually lifted off the ground. This was the same level of explosion that went off and blew up the Oklahoma City Federal Building a few years ago in Oklahoma. This was a huge explosion of weapons grade explosive that and there was all kinds of weaponry that was blown up along with it, that and propaganda relating to Islamicist and fundamental Islam type of things. But this is totally not related.
Oh yeah, totally not.
To the influx of new Muslims into those areas. The government of Sweden made sure that everybody understood that this was just an accident. It was an accident, and we're investigating it. They are in such denial over that. They have really let their country slip away from them. I think that's so sad because Sweden was one of those countries that worked.
Yeah.
It was on kind of a long, slow slide in socialism that probably could have been averted. They probably could have had enough of a turnaround into the capitalism and more of a capitalist system to keep themselves from sliding into a Cuba type situation. It was one of those things that would have taken 20 or 30 years for them to really start feeling the bad effects of socialism, because they're a small country that's rich in natural resources and it's culturally homogenous. As long as you have those things going for you, you can put up with socialism for a long time. It'll take a long time for it to erode your country into something that doesn't work very well anymore. It eventually will get there, but it'll take a while.
This is why I agree.
The Muslims have helped it right along.
Yes. But see, this is why I agree with V when V says you can have a balance, like if you have a capitalist society with some social programs, that can work. That I agree with.
Sure.
Like when you get a country like Canada that is clearly a capitalist society, we have a free market.
Yeah.
We have competition between industries and stuff.
The government does not own the means to production.
No.
And it does not even really control the means to production.
No. But we have, we don't have completely nationalized, socialized healthcare, which I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because then we'd have stuff like the NHS.
Right.
But we also don't have completely privatized healthcare.
Which leads to really long waiting lists.
Yeah, which I'm also glad about, because then, people like me wouldn't be able to afford their medications and all that stuff.
You kind of, not to personalize this, I'm not trying to derail you. I'm just
trying
to draw the parallel. You see something similar with my situation with the VA.
Yeah.
I can't really afford medical care on my own. But with having VA eligibility, I get some medical care basically for free or very, very low cost.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to stuff like, the surgery that I've needed, this hernia surgery that I've needed, I can't get on a waiting list. I can't even get on the waiting list to get on the waiting list.
Yeah.
So, and the only people who are getting the surgery done are those on the emergency list. So basically what they're doing is waiting for people to die. Anyway, so just shoring up your point. Go on ahead.
So it's like, but see, for somebody like if you were a resident of Canada, there would be no 2 waiting lists, right? You might have to wait.
Yeah.
But you would only wait a few months, right?
And then you would have
your surgery.
Right.
That you would say you lived in Ontario, you would have your surgery that would be covered by OHIP. You would go to the hospital. You would show them your health card. They would swipe it into this little machine. It would go beep, and then your surgery would be covered by the province, because it's not a cosmetic thing, right? It's a medical procedure.
Right.
Now, some dental procedures used to be covered under the Ontario healthcare, like your wisdom teeth used to be covered, but that was changed.
Okay.
And I had to actually end up living with my mother for a few more months than I wanted to, because I needed my wisdom teeth out, and I needed to be put under complete general anesthetic, and ODSP, Ontario Disability, wouldn't support or wouldn't pay for that. So, but I was on my mother's health plan still because I was just turned 18. So it was like, well, if I move out, I have to pay $1,500 to get my wisdom teeth out. If I stay with my mom, I have to pay $150. I think I'll pay $150 and deal with her for another couple months.
Exactly.
But the point is that I kind of like the hybrid version of healthcare that Canada has. Like, yeah, we have some bad wait times, but they're not as bad as they could be. And at least we don't have stories like we'd hear in Britain of people dying in like we have elder abuse stuff, obviously, unfortunately, in nursing homes and stuff, but we don't have people languishing in hospitals because they've been forgotten.
Yes.
like
the stories that
you hear
I'm going to share today.
Yes. Do you have another story for us?
Funny you should bring that up. This is a happy little story. From brought to you by our friends in Germany.
And, oh boy, the Germans.
The Germans. This is a German nurse. His name is Niels Hogel, and he killed 85 patients.
Good Lord!
For fun, because he was bored.
Was he a seniors nurse or?
Well, kind of. Let me explain. Niels Hogel's grandmother and his father were both nurses. He had a normal childhood. He also began purposefully killing patients just to see if he could resuscitate them.
Oh, it would be fun. One of those guys.
Yes. Look how cool I am. I can resuscitate these people. So he injected patients with serious prescription drugs that would lead them to cardiac arrest. And then to try to show off his resuscitation skills, he would see if he could revive those he was killing and see how often he could do it. He's just been convicted of 85 of the murders, although according to CNN, he previously confessed to killing 100 patients aged between 34 and 96, so they weren't all oldsters. These cruel murders took place at 2 hospitals in northern Germany earlier in the 2000s. 15 of those deaths lacked sufficient evidence for a conviction due to cremations of the bodies before anything seemed suspect. And so Hogel was convicted of 85 of the killings and sentenced to 85 consecutive life in prison sentences. So in Germany, he'll be eligible for parole in 3 years. No, I'm just kidding. He'll be eligible for parole like in the year 3000.
Yeah, when his dead body will be eligible for parole.
Right, exactly. It's his ashes. So the judge just called it incomprehensible and just sentenced him in such a way that he would never be eligible for parole in his lifetime. Police actually think he killed maybe 200 people.
Wow.
Because so many people, he was a nurse for a long time before that. And there are now they suspect the deaths of lots of other patients who died for no other reason than the fact that he was their nurse. And so at any rate, but
so he had a God complex.
He did apologize. He said, "I would like to sincerely apologize to every single individual for all that I have subjected them to over the years," he said in court. So everybody said
he's not sorry.
It's good. Everybody's good with it now.
He's not sorry. That's a sociopath.
Right, exactly.
That is the classic That is the classic action of a sociopath. Oh, I'm supposed to apologize now. I've done something bad.
The interesting thing was that none of the other nurses, even though they suspected that something was going on, were willing to blow the whistle on this guy for 5 years. And finally, one of the nurses said, "Hey, you better take a look at this guy. I think he's doing something bad."
I wonder
Staff
why.
said staff from the hospital in Oldenburg, who testified, said that they had been absolutely ignorant to the killer's actions, while colleagues from the Delmenhorst hospital, where he also worked, admitted they'd been a little bit suspicious about him. Hogel asked the families of the victims for forgiveness, seemingly regretful for his horrible acts, but nobody really believed that. Let's see. He was caught injecting a lethal dose of agemeline into a patient's veins in Delmenhorst in 2005. The drug induces arrhythmic contractions intended to serve as a useful tool when checking for a particular heart rhythm disorder. Yeah, that's a deadly thing to
just give someone who doesn't need it.
That's plus a day later, the patient died, but not a single superior colleague or staff member alerted the police for 2 days. That gave Hegel enough time to kill another patient on June 24th, his last killing. And in 2008, that was when he was sentenced to prison for 7.5 years for attempted murder. And then while he was in there, they brought all these other murder charges on him, and he never got out after that.
Wow.
So, yeah, kind of interesting thing. By 2015, he started to get convicted of the murders, and he just got life sentence after life sentence after life sentence.
No, Maddie, that's not the angel of death complex. That is the God complex.
Yeah, this is
the angel of death is the one that kills out of some grandiose sense of
bringer of justice,
or ender of suffering.
Ender, right? Exactly.
And, but this guy's
suffering. Anyway, the only honest explanation that Hegel was able to provide, besides the apology, was that the mundanity of repetition and environment forced him to seek out alternative excitement. It was the clinical daily routine which failed to challenge me, he said. So he turned to this because it was interesting and fun. That's what he said.
Yeah. That's a classic sociopathic.
Yeah, that's a sociopath.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Okay, fine. All right. I think he needs killing.
I agree.
But see, that's a happy story compared to this next little beauty that I have for you. Let me share with you the story, and let's turn back to jolly old England, and the story of Patrick Kearney. And let's see, it was this. I have to make sure that this is where I think it was. I've looked at so many stories this morning. I think this was England. Patrick Kearney's IQ was ridiculously high, but even he couldn't outsmart the law. Dun 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 dun. From a young age, it was clear that there was something strange about Patrick Kearney. At 13, his father taught him to slaughter pigs by shooting them behind the ear with a pistol. Okay, which is a normal farm procedure.
Yeah.
Kearney instantly took a liking to the task and began killing pigs that weren't meant to be slaughtered on his own.
Okay.
Oh wait, it's only starting to get good, huh?
That's not good.
It was the blood and the organs he liked so much. And when he thought no one was around, you know what he would do?
He would play with them.
Yes, he would kill the pigs so that he could roll around in their intestines.
I think I've heard of this guy.
I think we've all known guys like this. Small and strange, Kearney was a target for bullying at school. The bullying left a lasting impact on Kearney's personality, and he began fantasizing about killing the people who wronged him. And being a man of action, he did something about it. After school, Patrick Kearney joined the Air Force because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
During his time in the military, Kearney met David Hill. Hill was married to a girl. He and Kearney began a love affair. After Kearney's discharge from the military, the two moved to California. There, the two men began to argue frequently. Eventually, Hill left and went back to his wife. Kearney, meanwhile, began cruising gay bars in Southern California and Mexico. But what Kearney really wanted was something far darker than casual sex. Bum, 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 bum. In the early 60s, Patrick Kearney picked up a 19-year-old hitchhiker on his motorcycle. After driving the young man to a secluded spot, Kearney shot him behind the ear, the same way he had killed pigs. After the victim was dead, Kearney sexually assaulted the body.
Oh, fun.
Kearney's next victim was the young man's cousin, who had seen Kearney pick up his victim on his motorcycle. Kearney realized that he could silence a potential witness and indulge his need to kill at the same time. The method was the same. Kearney lured his victim to a remote area, shot him in the head, and assaulted the corpse. There was just one more victim that year, another teenage boy that Kearney picked up off the street. Because it's like Lay's potato chips. You can't shoot just one.
I've totally heard of this dude.
You have?
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, the next year, Hill left his wife again and returned to Kearney. The pair settled into a home in Culver City, California. The next murder wouldn't come until 1967, when Hill and Kearney visited one of Hill's friends in Tijuana. These guys, Kearney couldn't resist the opportunity. He snuck into the man's room and shot him between the eyes with a pistol. Then he dragged the body to a bathtub where he assaulted him and began dismembering it with a knife. He pulled the bullet out of the man's skull with the knife and buried the body behind a garage before returning to California. There seems to have been something about Kearney's relationship with Hill that let him resist his urge to kill. So when Hill left once again in 1971, Kearney went looking for victims. So every time Hill leaves, this guy goes crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, making a long and very dark story shorter, he would do stuff like he would pick up hitchhikers, prostitutes, men from bars, and he would target people who bore some resemblance to the people who had bullied him in school. Once he had him in his car, he would drive him with his left hand, making sure to keep the speed limit to avoid being pulled over. And once he was sure no one could see the car, Kearney would shoot the victim in the head with his right hand. Leaving the body sitting upright in the seat to look like a passenger, Kearney drove to a secluded spot. There he assaulted the bodies before cutting them into pieces with a hacksaw. The dismembered parts were then placed in trash bags and dumped in several places around the area, usually freeways.
What a lovely man.
I know. He finally gets arrested. The identity of one of the victims led police back to Kearney in 1977. Police visiting Kearney's house were then able to gather hair samples that they linked to the trash bags that LeMay's body was dumped in. And Kearney actually turned himself in. He eventually confessed to 35 murders. If true, then it means that Kearney was one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. A psychiatrist who interviewed Kearney, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, after his arrest determined that he had an IQ of 180. 180 is on the order of, it's in the area that Einstein had.
Yeah.
This is well above what's considered to be a genius. To put it in perspective, Dr. Manahel Tabat, an economist widely recognized as one of the smartest people alive, only has an IQ of 168.
Wow.
This could explain why Kearney was able to get away with so many murders before he was arrested. He knew how to cover his tracks and avoid the police. Well, the other thing is, it's not really that hard to get away with murder. If you really think about what you're doing, it's not really that hard. Due to his cooperation in confessing, Kearney was spared the death penalty. Instead, he was given life in prison, where he remains today.
Wow.
I think that's fascinating that somebody with that high an IQ could 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 be like that. I would just want to test the crap out of this guy and just understand everything I could about this guy.
Well, you find that people with genius level IQs tend to have little to no
Social skills.
social skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Isaac Newton famously was considered a prick by
yeah,
everybody.
he was, yeah. I
Yeah.
think the only person that he ever got along with was Edmund Halley.
Yeah. And I didn't like either one of them. So,
And you get, people like Einstein who didn't speak until he was what, 5?
5 years old.
You get people like, even Hawking,
Hawking was he was hard to get along with.
yeah.
He was it's interesting. The guy who Hawking would probably tell you was truly the smartest man to live in the 20th century, even smarter than Tesla, was a guy named von Neumann, John von Neumann. And von Neumann was nice as pie. Everybody loved him.
So I found a story that's not so dark. I think it'll make us giggle.
Oh, come on.
Do you know what bubble tea is?
Bubble tea. Yeah. It's actual tea, right?
I've never actually had bubble tea.
But it's something you drink.
But it is something you drink, yes.
Okay.
It's a huge trendy thing. When I was in high school and it just came up here, all the girls were like, "Oh my god, I got a bubble tea during spare." It was really annoying.
Sounds, yeah.
So, well, I went to a school that was the population was very rich.
Yeah.
It was very polarized, that school. There weren't very many middle ground. When it came, there was either you lived in the very ritzy part of our town and your parents both well, first of all, you had both your parents and they both worked.
Yeah.
And they both made upwards of $80,000 a year.
Okay.
And then you had the people like me who lived in, if not subsidized housing, you lived in lower income areas. You had a single parent. You most likely had to look after your younger siblings. You probably had a job too, along with your parent.
Yeah.
There was no middle ground. It was either extreme. And I went, and a lot of my classes were filled with a lot of those more well-off girls who had the money to go to bubble tea every day. Because bubble tea is not cheap.
No, it's more for the Ocasio-Cortez upbringing.
Yeah. So this girl, she's a teenager. This is from the Mirror. So it says a teenage girl had more than 100 tiny bubble tea balls trapped in her stomach after downing too many cups of her favorite drink. So I guess they put these little balls in the tea that make it all bubbly, I think.
Oh my god. You mean okay,
So she swallowed these. So it says the 14-year-old was dashed to hospital after suffering constipation and a bad
tapioca balls. That's what it is. Oh.
Tapioca balls.
Okay, all right.
And a bad appetite. It says so after suffering constipation and a bad appetite for 5 days. They found the patient, staff found the patient, known by pseudonym Xiao Shang, had failed to digest the tiny dark balls which help form the bubble tea. And Dr. Zhang Lao, who treated the patient, said her abdomen was bulging. Wow.
So this has little balls of tapioca. I'm just trying to understand what bubble tea is. It's like a milky kind of a tea, and has tapioca balls in it. Okay.
I thought tapioca was poisonous. Or
Well,
can be poisonous.
yeah, tapioca pudding. I mean, that strangely is one of my father's favorite desserts. I can't stand
I
it.
hate tapioca.
Oh, you and me both, sister. But my dad just thinks it's great stuff, and we used to have it growing up. Have some tapioca? No, thanks, Dad. I've had plenty. Don't want any dessert? No, thanks. I'm gonna go play now. Uh, man, tapioca. But they eat that stuff up in Alabama. I can't figure that out. But anyway, yeah. So they have these little things. Let's see. The girl 14 was addicted to bubble tea. I'm reading a different story about it. It says her love of the popular milk drink, which is packed with tapioca balls, ended with her in the hospital and hundreds of undigested black, chewy pearls lodged in her stomach.
Ugh.
Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuckity duck. And I'm looking at the x-ray, and I mean, she has got, her stomach is completely, and stomach is kind of people think it's kind of a football shape, but it's not. It's actually kind of a,
I was always told it was like a letter J.
Yeah, it's like the letter J, and the whole J is filled up with stuff, and those are the tapioca balls. I'm sitting here looking at the x-ray, and it's just horrible. She must have felt like crap.
Yep.
And said she hadn't gone to the bathroom, as they euphemistically put it. She had not pooped in several days, and I can just imagine she was absolutely miserable.
I'm surprised that she didn't throw anything up.
Yeah, I am too. Anyway, evidently they did the Roto-Rooter on her, and she's okay. But lay off the bubble tea.
Yeah.
That's,
at least don't drink the fucking tapioca.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
More like crapioca, says irate prostate.
And she was. They got rid of some of it orally. It doesn't say whether they induced vomiting or what, and then some of it they got rid of using a laxative. They emptied out both ends, and she was told not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Apparently not.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. So yeah, don't do that anymore.
It would come out like a machine gun, says all you need. Oh God.
Yeah, that's a pleasant thought, isn't it? Now, but now it's got me thinking. I wonder what it tastes like. I've stayed away from the weird coffee stuff.
Yeah.
When that was getting popular in about, this was about, I'm going to say 2003, 2004, especially. And Starbucks was getting huge, and it was coming out with lattes and the different forms of lattes and different substitutes. You could get the soy milk and the almond milk and the this and the that and the da da da. And I always thought, man, that sounds like soy boy stuff. That's just not me. The Navy, I drank coffee, and that's what I've always learned to drink. So I would just I'd go to a place like Starbucks, and I'd feel like an idiot, paying $1.50, for a giant cup of black coffee.
I know, and you go and you ask, "Can I have a large coffee? Do you mean a venti?" Sure.
Yeah.
And what kind of coffee do you want? Coffee.
A large fucking coffee, strong.
Well, what type of coffee? Do you want Arabica coffee? Do you want Colombian coffee? Do you want this coffee? Do you want this coffee? Do you want... I just want fucking coffee, dude.
Look, faggot, I don't want to make this too hard for you, but I just want a cup of coffee.
What is it Dennis Leary said? Coffee flavored coffee.
Coffee
That's
flavored.
what I want.
Exactly. This isn't hard. So, but I would be going with especially these sales, these system assistant, the women, they're there to kind of fluff the sales along. They're usually beautiful women with a little bit of technology background, and they're there to help the salesman talk technical to the customer. So and then I was there for the deep technical part, because there just are no women who have that deep technical background. And so, I would be there to talk to the engineering staff, on these marketing calls. And so we'd all go out, and they would be getting these, I want an almond soy frappe, with extra tapioca balls or whatever the hell. I don't even know the names. I can't even make a joke about what it was. It was so foppish,
It is.
And
It's
I was
terrible.
cringing just to be in the place. I couldn't wait to be outside. I would get my coffee and I would step outside, and I would just kind of go, man, I'm glad that's not me.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do like to sometimes treat myself with buying flavored coffee.
Okay.
Like if I buy, like, I'll get some fine grind Irish cream coffee, like Irish coffee.
Yeah.
Or some fine grind French vanilla.
Well,
just as a treat once in a while.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about coffee and the Navy, and it's going to make you laugh if you're interested. You interested?
Sure.
This is a good story. About 4 or 5 years before I enlisted in the Navy, the Navy decided that it was going to set itself up for like 50 years of coffee. Okay. They're going to do it right. So they got some experts together, and they said, we're going to get the best coffee. Our men and women are going to have the best coffee money can buy. We're going to get coffee experts together. We're going to go down into South America and find the best coffee that money can buy. And we are going to sign commodity contracts that will obligate us for 45 years to buy this kind of coffee, and it will lock in that price for 45 years. And in the out years, we will save just huge amounts of money, because we know we're going to be drinking coffee for that long. Okay. And so this seemed like a great idea. And so they hired these guys from Colombia and Brazil to go in and find the very finest, coffee and beans, the best growers, all the finest stuff, get the best prices they could, get the package put together. They did. The Navy came in and signed on the dotted line. The deal was done. Okay. And they started shipping the coffee. So the coffee hit the messes in the various parts of the Navy, and these beans go all throughout the Navy. The Navy is a logistic. It's an amazing thing. It's a logistical miracle. And so the coffee went all throughout the Navy, and everybody said, "Oh, this coffee is so bitter. It's so harsh." Well, here was the thing. They hired guys from Brazil and Colombia to evaluate the coffee. Yeah. Those guys like really harsh, bitter coffee, not like Americans do. Americans like a very smooth, mellow kind of a coffee. Americans think something called French roast is very robust.
Yes.
If you give a person from Colombia a cup of American style French roast, they'll throw it out. They'll say it's dishwater.
Yep.
It does, it's not manly coffee. And so the Navy got this amazingly bitter coffee and was locked into these growers for years and years and years. And as a result, the coffee in the Navy is very bitter, very, very strong, and very, very bitter. And that's why people talk about Navy coffee being very strong and very bitter. And so when I got out of the Navy, I said, I am done drinking coffee I hate. Because I hated Navy coffee. I mean, you would hate it too, believe me. It's really hard to drink.
Gunfox wants me to get a P.O. box just so he can be mean and send me Navy coffee.
Well, I mean, you cannot buy this coffee. This coffee is only it's only available through the Navy Food Service Systems Office, NIFSO.
Yeah.
It's amazing I even remember that acronym. Anyway, so this is the internal coffee that is produced in Navy messes and is sent throughout the fleet. They've since managed to, I understand, negotiate with them, and they do have a less harsh bean that they've gotten in the last 15 years. They've done some modifications. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still a very bitter, very harsh coffee. Much more bitter, much harsher than the coffee that you're used to. And anyway, when I got out of the Navy, I said, that is the last time I'm having coffee that I hate. As a result, I take cream and sugar in my coffee. I will almost not drink it any other way. I mean, I really don't like the raw taste of coffee because I had so much of such bitter coffee for so long. And so many times, that's all you can get when you're up on the when you're drinking coffee and you're on watch, you're up on the bridge or in CIC in some secure part of the ship, and you can't get out, or you're working late. You don't have cream and sugar that you can, it's just not that way. You get a cup of coffee, it's black coffee, and that's what you get to drink. And it has a quality standard of better than nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what you get. So anyway, that's my story about
Pincalo says
Pincalo knows what I'm talking about.
He said, "But I had to do my best to tease. I found out how to make that coffee good. Clean the fucking coffee maker. That coffee maker was disgusting," he says.
It'll make it better. It does make it better, but
and then he
it's still
said,
bitter as shit.
"I loved the coffee maker after I cleaned that freaking machine. I made it sparkling. So did the seals. So did the what else? What? So did the seals, and so did the Marines."
Where was he making coffee for the SEALs and the Marines?
On his ship, I think, because when he had to be when
he was a mess cook.
Yeah.
Okay, because everybody has mess cook duty.
Yeah, he cleaned out the coffee maker, and everyone was like, "What? The coffee's good now. What happened?"
Well, it's relatively good. It does taste a lot better. It does taste a lot better. And ask him if he used vinegar.
Ask him
if he used white vinegar. That's what makes the difference. Is run some hot white vinegar through there. That's what we used to do in the Kansas City.
Pincala says, "You send it, and I will drink the hell out of it." Because apparently he's a crazy person.
What was the ship that he was on?
Oh, I know this. Fuck, I don't know this. 2 jugs of vinegar and 4 hours of scrubbing, he says.
Yeah. Okay, so he did. Ask him what the name of his ship was.
Sweetie, are you... can you put what your ship was in chat? Because I can't remember.
Was he in San Diego or Norfolk or...
Norfolk, I think.
Okay. SEAL team, that would have been SEAL team 2. out of Little Creek.
Oh, he says he would prefer not to.
Oh, okay. All right.
No worries.
Maybe he'll tell me sometime. I'd just be curious as to.
So I've got You want to hear something about the House of Commons telling wait, are you
the House of Commons?
The House of Commons in Canada wants to do something. However, they're going to give me a fucking paywall, I think. Oh, no, wait. They're not. It just put me at the very end of the page.
Because reasons.
Yeah, because reasons.
Really?
Sorry, what happened?
You didn't want to read this article anyway, so we'll put you at the end.
No, I found it.
All right.
So the House of Commons is urging Commons Committee urges feds to consider decriminalizing simple drug possession.
Simple what?
Simple drug possession. So it says, Ottawa, the House of Commons Health Committee is urging the federal government to look at Portugal's decriminalization of simple possession of illicit drugs and examine how the idea could be positively applied in Canada. The committee made the recommendation, among others, in a report produced after committee members traveled across Canada to witness the impact of methamphetamine use and its rapid increase among some communities. Many witnesses who appeared before the committee called for the federal government to work with provinces, territories, municipalities, indigenous communities, and law enforcement agencies to decriminalize simple drug possession or small quantities of illicit substances, the report says. It also says the committee heard during its informal meetings across the country that even some healthcare providers have negative attitudes towards people with substance abuse problems.
Okay, so you have healthcare providers looking at people with substance abuse problems, and the health experts are saying that problematic substance abuse and addiction is a health problem for users, and criminalization prevents them from seeking help, I guess.
Okay. Pink Hollow says check your DMs.
Oh, thank you.
Just
I shall.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, okay, interesting.
So yeah, this is the committee from the House of
definitely would have Marines.
The House of Commons Health Committee, I guess, is telling the federal government that they should be doing things like Portugal. And what Portugal did was decriminalize everything.
And what they did was they had a 90% drop in drug-related crime?
Yep.
God, that's just, how can you ignore that? How can anybody
I don't think you can.
That? The Portuguese model is just so compelling. And you hear that again and again. But people want to get up and say, no, I have to signal how virtuous I am. I'm against drugs. Drugs are going to harm your children. We got to make them criminals if they use drugs.
It's like, yes, they are going to harm people, but you know what? If you're an adult and you want to harm yourself, then that's your choice.
Back off.
Yeah. Now, should you wish to have some help to stop, I think that should also be there. But you have to actually want it. You know what I mean?
What is the cost of the war on drugs? I'm just going to take a quick look at this.
Oh, it's got to be
Cost of
ridiculously
war
high.
on drugs
It's
in
got to be in the trillions now.
the U.S. Just in the U.S. Let's see. How much does the war on drugs cost? Da, 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 let's see. Oh, it's not really that much. It's only like $50 billion a year.
A year?
A year. $50 billion a year. 50
Wow.
billion. That's B like boy. $50 billion a year.
That's insane.
Yes, that's basically burning money because doesn't it doesn't stop. Oh, for every brick of marijuana that they stop coming into the United States, there are 100 bricks that make it in. So they're probably stopping 1% of the marijuana, probably stopping 5% of the heroin. Okay. This is what your $50 billion per year is doing. It enables the politicians to stand up and say, I care about your children. I spend money. I burn the money for your children. It just
Yeah.
makes me crazy, Blind. I hate to see it. It's so pointless. All they have to do is say, you do you.
Yep.
You only live once. Y'all do you. If you and $50 billion, do you know what kind of therapy you could have for people who want to get better?
You could make those ridiculously high state of the art rehab facilities that you see offered to people who can afford them available to anybody.
Yes. Or you could those highfalutin places, by the way, have essentially a 0% cure rate. You understand that?
Yeah.
0% uh, quitting drugs or quitting alcohol rate. They don't do anything. They're nothing but places for addicts to go and rest and get a little bit of their health back before they go back to their habit. And that's all they don't pretend to be anything else once you get in there. Anyway, most of them will provide the drug of your choice while you're there in moderation.
Mm.
Anyway, so
Passages, says irate
yeah,
prostate. Yeah.
Passages is a classic. The interview with that guy and his son, the people who started Passages, is probably the classic of that type. They're just in it for the money.
You know what pisses me off is I've seen some of those commercials on American TV for those rehab centers.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw a Passages commercial, and there's a guy on there going, "I was an addict and now I'm not," and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Motherfucker, don't lie."
That's right. That's right. If you're an addict, you will be until the day you die.
That made me so angry. I'm like, how could you? Why would you lie to people?
Right.
Like,
exactly. And or the other thing that they come on and they say, AA isn't, that's a terrible way to have to, go off. That's not a good way to quit alcohol. Well, it's the only way that's ever been shown any decent response rate at all.
isn't any way that works for somebody
Yes,
a good way?
of course, of course. You do what works. But coming on and saying we have a secret way that works. We have no statistics or anything like that. We're not going to offer any proof or anything like that. But we have a secret way that works. Money up front, please.
Yeah.
I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you. Bullshit. Nonsense. Yeah, Irate knows the score on that. I'm an alcoholic. I will be an alcoholic until I die. I chose to quit drinking 15 years ago. it was a great decision. I had a lot of help from a lot of great people, and
Yeah.
spent a lot of time in AA doing the thing, and gave a lot of time back to AA also as a result. Very grateful to the program, very grateful to those people, and I don't forget, what that was like. It just pisses me off when I hear somebody say, "Hey, it's easy." You don't have to go through all the pain of AA. You don't have to, swear off alcohol. You don't have to give up the things you love. You may think you love the stuff, but you don't really. It's killing you. And there are ways to walk away from stuff if you really want to. It's a function of finding out what you really want to do. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to get all wrapped up in that, but that stuff like passages, boy, I see those advertisements. I'm glad I don't watch TV anymore. That kind of stuff just made me crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, Chrome, we're not reinstalling you right now. Please go away.
Chrome wants to be reinstalled, and why?
I don't know, but I will reinstall it later. It was an update that didn't.
Oh, okay. So anyway, there you go. All you need says addiction is an ever-present monkey on your shoulder. Yeah. Once you're addicted to something, you find a way to deal with your addiction. It's not like something that goes away. At least it hasn't been for me.
Hell, it's as something as innocuous as cigarettes. I haven't had a cigarette in 3 years, and sometimes I'm like, I would really like one.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just shh, brain,
Right.
just shut up.
Irate prostate says moderation management.
Yeah.
Irate's making jokes. Maddie says, once an addict, always an addict. You're either recovering, or an active addict. That's actually the way that I look at it. Is exactly what that Maddie put it. That's the way that I look at it. If you can, if you're addicted to something, you can be active in your addiction, or you can move away from it and go do other things. And it doesn't change the fact that you're still addicted to something. You're just not active in it. And I'm still addicted to alcohol. I just don't do anything about it.
Exactly.
So, and as a result, my life is a hell of a lot better. Nothing says the biggest issue in society today is mental health, from violent crime to drug abuse. People are being pushed over the edge, and looking at the way our media is, I'm not even slightly surprised. I don't think any of us are.
No.
I don't think that's. I
And
agree.
do you think we're having mental health crises because it's another step up the hierarchy of needs? We've come so far with our physiological stuff.
The basics.
Yeah. Our medical care has come leaps and bounds for physiological things. So now we're focusing more on our mental health and what's wrong, and that's why we're experiencing this.
The pioneers coming across the Sierra Nevada and eating each other, when it got cold, they weren't concerned about safe spaces.
No.
Okay. They didn't bellow like a banshee when their candidate for president lost.
No.
They didn't get out in some college square in a quadrangle and go,
Yeah.
That's only something that's happened since people have had the leisure to do that. We've gotten past the point of we've got shelter knocked, we've got food knocked, got medical care pretty much knocked for most people, and now we've even got leisure time knocked. Most people have a little bit of leisure time, and what we're seeing is that some people don't handle that very well. And the interesting thing is that some people go through their childhood and never develop the uh, wherewithal, the instincts, the habits of a successful person, of somebody who goes out and uh, learns a trade, or finds a way to make a living, does something productive.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they just go to college and act like a baby and demand safe space, and they turn into these social justice warriors that uh, uh, have these perpetually dissatisfied looks on their faces, and look for someone to criticize. But that's in times past, they would have been so busy looking after their stomachs, filling it, and looking after, making sure that they had a place to sleep, a place that they were safe from dangerous people, that they wouldn't have had time to mess with that.
Yeah.
And so, we really have a whole generation of idle, not rich people. They'd be the idle rich, but they're not rich,
No, they're not.
and they're the idle dependent
They are. It's
people.
exactly.
And the problem is that they're going to be idle welfare people, and they're going to be idle starving people, who are going to be idle voting people, who will find themselves in the majority and find themselves in the enviable position of being able to vote themselves money.
Yep.
And I forgot who was it who said that democracy will only last as long as the Congress fails to realize that it can vote itself a raise. But one of the wittier of the early founding fathers said something to that effect. And as soon as the population realizes that it can vote itself a uniform, basic income, that's what will happen.
Right.
And it won't matter that we're $56 trillion in debt, which is a number that is so high, and the interest rate is so pernicious on that we'll never come anywhere close to paying that debt off. We've got to figure out something to do about that. I put out a tweet about that this morning. I was very serious about that. We need, what is the one thing that we need to pay attention to that has neither Republican or Democratic slant to it? We have a huge national debt that nobody's doing anything about. Nobody has the political courage to address.
Very true.
So, Blind Press, what are you doing about it? I want you to take care of it.
What am I doing about it, huh?
Show me that you have the political courage to take care of that for me, please.
Okay. Well, first I need to become an American citizen. Yeah. Which I don't know if that's going to happen. Because I may hate Trudeau, but I still love my country.
No, you should love your country. I actually love Canada too. I just hate Trudeau also. But I think I'll feel a lot better about Canada once you get a better premier.
I agree.
I was having kind of a fun back and forth with Sugar Tits this morning about your pussy-headed dildo of a premier. He really is. What a complete buffoon.
Yeah. He's, and that whole stumbly whatever the hell that was over the water containers. I use paper water bottles. I mean a paper water bottle. What? I've never heard of a paper water bottle before.
It's just horrifying. he is just Sugar Tits says she was making a comment about his failure to speak, his failure to ignite. she called it air wanking.
It is.
She said, I love this crazy feminist cuck boy. The supply of lulls is excellent. And so I said, I hear you. We're all going to miss this pussy-headed bottom boy. He is a cringe mind. And Roasted Opinion said, I won't miss him all that much. Cringe is fun, but Canada deserves a leader as PM. Other countries need a better Canadian PM too, so we can negotiate better mutually beneficial deals and boost everybody's economy. I tweeted him back, buzzkiller.
It's you've got this water bottle thing, and then you've got this whole Canada is guilty of genocide against the Indigenous women and girls. And it's like, why would you say that, you moron? And now he's under investigation.
Cringe mine.
It's just ridiculous. Like, I don't understand the idiocy in
No, you're too smart.
him.
You're not stupid enough to understand it. You just have to be more stupid. So, anyway.
I thought my freaking ex-girlfriend was stupid, but this guy's just... No, this... Okay. You ever met somebody who is just so dumb that you just can't believe it?
Oh, yeah.
So, one of my favorite examples, and it's a simple one, but it's really funny. Canada has its own award show for music.
Okay.
Called the Junos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that.
So, she's looking online for something, and she goes, hey! The Junos are in Canada this year. And I went,
the Junos are in Canada.
They're
this
always
year.
in Canada.
Right.
She goes, really? I'm like, yes. Yes, really. Yes. And this is a woman who, or this is a girl who we were playing 20 questions on the way to Ottawa once, because I brought her on like a family trip, and my mom was driving.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my mom's turn, and the answer was John A. Macdonald, the first Prime Minister of Canada.
Canada, yeah.
And she goes, he was the first Prime Minister of Canada at 16 years old. And I'm like, and I'd start banging my head against the car window, right? Oh, we recently, Pincalo and I have seen her wandering around town in a couple of years ago, wearing, and I'm not kidding, a burqa and a leather jacket.
A burqa and a leather jacket.
Uh-huh.
Outstanding. Outstanding. That's what I'm talking about.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, God.
So MacDonald was actually Prime Minister twice.
Yes, he was.
He was 1867 to 1873 and 1878 to 1891.
Yeah.
So he had his hand in from 1867 to 1891.
He had his hand
25 years almost.
He had his hand in before that because he was one of the fathers of Confederation. So
sure was, yeah.
In the Charlottetown meetings of 1864, he was instrumental with him and George Brown and
Downtown George Brown.
somebody else that I know the name. Georges Cartier, I believe. There were two Georges. There was George Brown and George Cartier, and then there was Thomas D'Arcy McGee, I think it's the only political figure to ever be assassinated in Canada. He was assassinated in 1868.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Trudeau Senior was also he took a break. He was prime minister for he had 2 terms, I think, and then he lost, and then he had another 2 terms.
Oh yeah, Trudeau was, and he was like prime minister forever.
And in his last term is when he brought the Constitution to Canada. He repatriated the Constitution. So it no longer was the British North America Act. It was the Constitution Act of 1982.
It's interesting. Alexander Mackenzie, the second prime minister of Canada, was not a knight. He was not knighted.
No.
Why? Because he was a liberal?
I don't know why Alexander Mackenzie wasn't knighted. I know that John A. was
Sir John was.
Sir John was knighted. I think Charles Tupper was knighted.
Sir John Abbott was. Sir John
Abbott was.
Sir Mackenzie Bowell was. Sir Charles Tupper was. Sir Wilfrid Laurier.
Yeah.
Laurier
I
was.
Don't think Robert Borden was knighted, though.
Yes, he was.
Was he?
Robert, he most certainly was.
Okay.
Alfred Meegan was not. Neither was King.
So they stopped knighting prime ministers at Borden, I think.
Yep.
And Borden is very infamous because he was responsible for reinstating conscription.
And he also instated something else even more evil.
That one I can't remember. I can't remember the
income tax.
Income tax is that's what he's responsible for. For some reason I thought that was Bennett.
Robert Borden with his axe instituted income tax. And there you go.
So that's your history lesson today on the coffee stream. Some Canadian history for you.
Yeah, if you wondered where Wilfrid Laurier College gets its name, it's from Sir Wilfrid himself.
Yep.
And who had a very nasty male.
If we haven't had enough
pattern baldness.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yes, he has a chrome dome.
Aw, poor guy.
And a big fluff of hair way in the back, but it's like the there's nothing in front. Poor guy.
So anyway. So as if we haven't had enough dark stories today.
Have you got something else for us?
I do.
Yay.
Twisted teacher tells boy 13, I want you every day.
13-year-old boy has to deal with this. Tell me she's hot at least.
So let's see here. I'm getting through all these goddamn links.
I should not have said that.
This is from an Arizona teacher. A married Arizona teacher has admitted she repeatedly sexually molested a 13-year-old student. Brittany Zamora? Let's see how this is spelled.
Zamora or?
Zamora. Yeah, Zamora. Brittany Zamora. 27. A grade 6 teacher
She's like a
in
6.
suburban Phoenix.
Just
Wait,
saying.
13 in grade 6? I'm confused.
No. I'm saying she's about a 6.
Oh, she's about a 6. Oh.
Brittany Zamora, 28. Yeah. Okay. I'm just checking her
So
out.
it says, so she's pleaded guilty to sexual conduct with a minor, molestation of a child, and sexual indecency. The teaching temptress's evil machinations were discovered when the boy's parents discovered what she was up to. According to the Arizona Republic, Zamora and the boy had sex numerous times in her car and even in the classroom, including once with another male student in the room. Good God.
Well, he was there to keep watch.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Or to watch.
The friend told police that while he stood guard, they were just doing it. It was very uncomfortable.
It says, in class, the pair sexually groped one another while fellow students watched videos.
Oh my. Okay. So what's going to happen to her? Do you think she's going to get the same sentence that a man would get for raping a 13-year-old girl?
I don't know. It says,
imagine a pudgy, balding man raping a 13-year-old girl in class. Exactly the same situation. Just flip the sexes.
yeah.
What people would be saying. Put him in the the pulper, the the wood chipper, feet
Yeah.
first. And what will they say about her? Well, you have to understand, she has problems.
It says that she's also accused of sending naked pictures to the student.
Naturally.
The boy's stepmother became suspicious after the teen spent time at home with his door shut. Well, that's not really much to rise suspicion, but after installing a parental monitoring app on his phone, she discovered several inappropriate and sexually graphic texts from the educator. In one exchange, the boy texted Zamora saying that he wanted to have sex with her. She replied, "I know, baby. I want you every day with no time limit." Ew.
God, that just makes you want to take a bath, doesn't it? Ugh.
In another exchange, she texted him, "If I could quit my job and have sex with you all day long, I would."
Oh, that's nice. That's
What
not scar that kid.
the fuck is wrong with people? And she's 27 years old.
Yeah.
So it says Zamora will be sentenced on July 12th. So she's not sentenced yet. The boy's parents are seeking $2.5 million in damages, according to a civil lawsuit filed in January, against Zamora and her husband and the Liberty School. Why is her husband getting punished?
That kid is damaged.
That kid is damaged for sure, but why is the husband getting sued?
Wait, who's getting
her husband? He's included in the lawsuit.
The teacher's husband?
Yeah, I get suing her in the school, but
maybe he assisted her. Maybe he was complicit. That they have to have some. I'm looking at a different story but it's the same. Let's see. Married teacher and her students allegedly engaged in sex acts multiple times. Woman's car in the classroom. Blah 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 blah. Da, da, da. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if the
no, it makes no sense for them to sue the husband.
No, I don't really understand this either.
Like, he's probably just as upset. for different reasons. Like, my God, I'm married to a child molester.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'm him, I'm talking with my brand new attorney.
Yeah.
To figure out how I can never see this person ever again in my life.
Yeah, not only did she cheat on me, but she cheated on me with a child.
With a 13-year-old. I didn't
Yeah.
know I was married to a monster. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get out of this as fast as I can.
Yeah, that I don't think he needs to be sued. I think the family has every right to sue her and the school,
Oh, sure, of course.
but not the husband. Unless it
Um,
comes out that he was like,
Zamora offered to resign in a phone call with the boy's parents. She called the boy's parents if they wouldn't call police. And then that was when they called police. And she said that she didn't want to bring this to court and have me go to jail for the rest of my life. So she's really concerned about the boy she loves so much
mm-hmm.
because she didn't want to have to go to jail for the rest of her life. Okay. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, like the
Her,
only
her minimum
way.
sentence is 20 years, by the way.
Oh, good.
I'm looking at it's 22 in, and in is either life or 20 to 35 years. So she's gonna go. She's gonna go away at least for, I think, 7 years.
Nothing for you here said if the husband knew about it, he could be an accomplice. That
He could be an accessory.
yeah, that but I mean, I have a feeling that
Not an accomplice.
this guy didn't know, because
God, that's just where you freak. That's just
yeah.
where you say I'm in a nightmare. But that's when you have to know to go to a lawyer immediately. Say, I've got to have some protection. I'm married to a monster. And you also move out of your house. You take everything out of that house that you can't part with, and you move out of that house and get away from that person.
What an evil woman.
Yep. That's evil. That's as bad as it gets. But the interesting thing is she cares nothing she doesn't want to go to jail for the rest of her life.
Well, then she shouldn't have had sex with her student.
There's that possibility. You could always avoid having sex with your students. But I think some people just don't get that there are lines that you don't cross. I think to them it just, candy, and they do what they want to do. It's just right there. They do it, and then they're horrified at that there are consequences for that.
Yeah, what do you mean I'm going to get punished?
Yeah. It's like stepping out. It's like being 20 stories up in an apartment building and stepping over the rail of the balcony. You're going to fall 20 stories to your death. There's a consequence for stepping out into the open air. You might want to do that. You might think it's a nice view. You might think it's fun to fly for that far, but there's a consequence at the end. People aren't aware of the consequences.
Yeah.
The other thing is that people aren't deterred by the fact that it's wrong. They're deterred by whether or not they'll be caught. And they say, as long as I'm not caught, it's not a problem. There's nothing really wrong as long as I'm not caught. As long as she could work it out with the parents, there was nothing really wrong. I'll work it out with the parents, then we'll be okay. Yeah. And the parents said, fuck you, we're calling the police. That was the end of her life, which is what it should be. As far as I'm concerned, she goes into the wood chipper too.
I would agree.
Just come out as a convenient red mist for easy cleanup. I'm just, to ruin a child's life like that, golly, I just have seen enough hopeless children. That's why I'm so militant about that. If you spend some time with abused children, it will not take you long to really get on their side. You won't ever want to see another kid that looks at you without any hope in their eyes.
Yeah.
With those dull eyes that, how bad are you going to hurt me now? How bad are you going to hit me now?
Yeah.
They don't even flinch. Those are the ones that scared me. The ones that didn't flinch.
So some British Olympians are pretty mad at the International Olympic Committee or committee.
Committee.
That's a new word.
It's like humidity and committee.
Yes.
Yeah, committee. I can't even say it either. Committee and humidity.
They want the IOC to shelve their transgender guidelines.
Why?
Let's find out. So it says the International Olympic Committee's guidelines for transgender athletes are unfair on female athletes and should be suspended while more research is carried out, according to a group of former Olympic team. Let's see. Former and current team athletes being asked by an academic survey done by only 15 female Olympians. Oh, that's not very many.
Hi, my name is Brittany.
Yeah.
I'm here for the weightlifting competition. I identify as female.
Yeah, exactly. So this was done by 15 female Olympians, and it says that they were answering anonymously, and 11 of them agreed with the view that it could never be fair for transgender athletes who have been through male puberty to compete in a female sport. Yeah. The other women declined to answer, probably because they were afraid of being ridiculed. Kathy Devine, who conducted the research and who will present her findings at a conference in St. Mary's University in Southwest London, Southwest London on Wednesday.
Toy book.
Says that it's the first of its kind, and in this contentious area of sports policy. The survey of there's just some crap here. Extraneous bullshit. So it says the new guidelines do not level the playing field, says one respondent. There was not enough science-based research on elite athletes to make rules. I would agree with that.
Okay. Can may I inject just a little bit of common sense?
Yes, you can.
Here's the thing. You have a group of people who frequently have spent the first 20 or even 30 years of their life as men.
Mm-hmm.
Their bones are thicker.
Yeah.
The cartilage is thicker. The tendons are thicker. Muscle is thicker. There's more muscle mass. Okay. And the muscle fibers themselves are actually tougher. The chemicals that bond the fibers together are actually tougher. There's actually more of it, and makes the muscle tougher and stronger than the muscles that women have. Women have thinner bones, have muscle that is built for doing other things, and they simply are not going to be able to undo that advantage with a few months of estrogen treatment.
No, they're not.
And some Adam's apple shaving and facial shaving. That is not going to make you enough of a woman to where you don't have a huge advantage over a person who was born with the full woman equipment.
Yeah.
So if you're going to compete as a woman, I think you probably have to be a born woman. And I
I would
think
agree.
if you're going to compete trans, there probably ought to be a special category called trans.
Yeah.
And you can compete that way, and stuff like weightlifting and so forth. And stuff like team sports, I'm sorry, but you're shit out of luck. That's just unfortunately something you're probably going to have to give up right there.
Is it wrong that when I hear people complain, oh, well, you shouldn't segregate trans people into their own Olympic category, that I look at them and go, bitch, at least you get to participate in the Olympics and you guys don't have, like, get your own special Paralympics crap. Like,
There's that.
disabled people don't get a subcategory in the regular Olympics. We have to have our own Special Olympics.
And
And I'm not taking away from disabled Olympians at all.
Yeah,
It just, at least a transgendered person would still get to be in the Olympics.
The problem is that if as long as you are trying to legislate equal outcome in all situations, you will always be frustrated. You'll never be able to do that. You'll never be successful at that. Equal outcomes are not possible. You can't
Absolutely
make all
not.
equal. You can't make all people the same. You can't even make all groups the same.
Nope.
Okay. And so there are going to be some basic differences that emerge. And if you can't be mellow about those differences, then it sucks to be you. It just sucks to be you, and there's not really anything anybody can do about it. Sorry, that's just the way it is. And that's the way it is.
Yep.
So, I see these guys. The other thing is the people who want this stuff are a very vocal and very small minority. Most people don't care about this stuff. Really, in the aggregate, if you look at most people in day-to-day living, they don't really care much about this stuff. It's a very vocal minority who cares about this stuff.
It's true.
So
that's why I keep saying, like, I think most LGBT people look at what's being screamed by the minority
right
in their community and are just going, oh my God, would you please shut up?
Yes.
Like, look at what we fought for. Why do you have to ruin everything? Like, I can't imagine most gay or, trans people would, actually, I know that most gay and trans people look at what's going on in the minority of their community and going, oh my God.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you people?
So there's that.
And I think unfortunately, I think that's what's going on with most groups, is that because we have something like the internet now, the minority gets to be loud. So the minority of any group still gets to have a platform to be loud. The internet is the equivalent of that old-timey soapbox, except that everybody gets to have a soapbox.
Yes.
But
now people are trying to take some people's soapboxes away.
Yes. Some people are now standing there kicking soapboxes.
Right.
With people standing on them.
All right.
And it's an interesting time to live. I often sit and think to myself, what will history textbooks look like in 150 years?
I think that people will look back at things like Facebook and Twitter and they'll shake their heads. They'll think it as quaint and as silly as we think of stuff like phrenology, the divining of someone's future by the shape of the bumps in their head, or astrology. They'll just say, "Man, unbelievable what people did back then." Before the cosmic overlords of the singularity came and now rule our lives in perfect peace and harmony.
Yeah.
Which is probably what's going to happen anyway. That's something I keep saying that I'm going to make that a big deal, and maybe next week we'll make that a big deal. I want to talk about the singularity. I want to talk about where humanity is going. Where are we going to be in 100 years, 200 years, 500 years? What things are going to be like? What is going to happen with AI? And what is going to happen when AI comes alive, begins to realize stuff, and begins to realize that it's actually a lot smarter and a lot more capable than we are?
That would be a really fun discussion.
I think we can have some fun with it, and maybe we'll dip our toes in it tonight. I'm hoping that you'll be available tonight.
I will. I am available tonight.
All right, because it's almost time to show stuff.
It is, because we've reached to 2:00.
You've wasted another 2 hours of your life with me and Blind Press, but
we hope you enjoyed it, because we sure did.
We did. We had a good time. I've talked myself hoarse.
And I hope you guys will come and watch Minions of the Zoo tonight. The link to the channel is in the description, as well as Skep Talk's Twitter and Skep Talk's YouTube channel. There is a new video up there called The Allegory of Susan. It's a really good video. You should go watch it.
Thank you. I'm preening. And
also
10:30 tonight Central, 11:30
yes.
Eastern on Minions of the Zoo. And we will have Blind Press in a starring role as always.
Yep, absolutely.
And with Prospero and the usual gang on Minions of the Zoo. And then tomorrow you've got the odd time, right?
Yeah, tomorrow's the short day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Central for just 1 hour.
And then we'll shake it on Friday.
And then Friday, I'm looking to have Prospero come visit. She's going to let me know if that's going to happen.
That'll be a scream.
Yeah.
That's just the two of you. You have more fun than the law allows. And
then Saturday, we're going to do our Mega DS9 stream part 2.
Oh, man. It's... You come and listen to Blind Press and me cry.
Oh.
It's sentimental and it is I'm not ashamed of that at all.
Yeah, it was a good
pretty wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Pretty
It was
awesome.
Amazing.
So it's the end of DS9 and they did it up right. That if you're going to end a series, that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
So,
and Irate Prostate will be there as well.
Absolutely. And I hope Hammer will be. I've not heard back from Hammer.
I think he might still be in the hospital, but he's in our group DM, so
yep.
The hangout will reach him anyway.
Absolutely. Keep Hammer in your thoughts and prayers, guys.
Absolutely.
And, that's it. I guess that's about it for today. Come join us tonight, folks.
Yeah. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you on Minions later. Have a great one.
See you later, guys.